already know that sound is produced due to vibration. This means that any object such as the guitar, when set into vibration, will produce sound. So this implies that if we set this pendulum into oscillations by giving it a little push with our hand, it must also produce sound, right? But we don't seem to hear any sound coming from it. Why don't we hear any sound? This is because we humans can hear sound only if a source is vibrating in a certain frequency range. If the frequency of vibration is below or above this range, then we are unable to hear that sound. The audible range for human beings extends from about 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. So the sounds of frequencies below 20 Hz and above 20,000 Hz cannot be heard by a human ear. However, this range varies as we age. For example, kids can hear sound up to frequencies 25,000 Hz. As humans grow old, ears become less sensitive to higher frequency sound. Coming back to our previous question, can you now tell me why we can't hear the sound from a vibrating pendulum? As it's very clear from our observation that it's vibrating at a frequency much lesser than 20 Hz. Hence, we are unable to hear any sound. The two kinds of sounds, one with frequency below 20 Hz and the other with frequency above 20,000 Hz, are given special names. Sounds of frequencies below 20 Hz are called infrasonic sounds or infrasound, whereas sounds of frequency above 20,000 Hz are called ultrasonic sounds or ultrasound. Did you know that some animals like rhinoceros, whales and elephants produce sound in the infrasound range? In fact, rhinoceros can communicate using infrasound of frequency less than 5 Hz. What about ultrasound? Ultrasound is produced by animals like dolphins and bats. Why are we studying all this? There are lots of useful applications of ultrasound in real life. It is used in detecting the underwater objects or measuring the depth of sea. Let's discuss this in detail. We will talk about a device named sonar. It stands for sound navigation and ranging, and it's installed in a boat or a ship. What does it consist of? It consists of a transmitter and a detector. The transmitter produces ultrasonic waves which transmit through the water and strike the object at seabed. And then these ultrasonic waves get reflected from the seabed and are received by this detector. What does the detector do then? The detector then converts these ultrasonic waves into electrical signals. These signals then tell us the details about the object present at seabed or at the depth of the sea. We can calculate this depth if we know the velocity of sound wave. Let this distance be d. So the distance covered by the wave from the transmitter and back to the detector will be 2d. Let v be the velocity of the sound wave and t be the time interval between transmission and reception of ultrasound signal. We know that speed is distance over time. So the velocity v will be equal to distance 2d over t. 2d will then be v times t. Dividing both sides by 2, we get this. So we can calculate the depth of sea using this formula. Let's solve one easy problem based on this concept. Go through the question carefully and try to solve it. Let the distance between the submarine and the cliff be d. Let v be the velocity of sound in water and t be the time in which the sonar pulse travels from the submarine to the cliff and back to the submarine. First, let's list the given quantities. We are given time interval t as 1.02 seconds, speed as 1531 meters per second. What are we asked for? We are asked for the distance between the cliff and the submarine. That is, we are asked the distance d. We will use this formula d equal to v times t over 2. Substituting given values in it will give us d as 780.81 meters. Why is the unit of distance in meters? Since the given quantities are measured in SI units, we will also measure the distance in SI units, which is meters. And what does the value of d imply? This value gives us the distance of the submarine from the cliff. So this was all about the device named sonar. In the next video, we will discuss the last concept in this chapter, which is the structure of the human ear. So don't forget to join us there.